All right, so for our last test of the year, we have our fraction decimal percent test. So to change a decimal to a fraction, you just write it like you say it. So when you read this, it's 25 hundredths. So we just write the fraction 25 hundredths, and then we divide by a common factor in order to simplify it. You could divide this by 5, or I'm using the greatest common factor of 25, and it's a fourth. To change a decimal to a percent, you're moving the decimal point 2 times to the right because you're multiplying it by 100, so it's 25%. 5/8. To change this to a decimal, sometimes you could do an equivalent fraction with a 100 denominator, but that doesn't work here since 8 doesn't go into 100. So then we use Mr. Dewey. 5 divided by 8, and 8 goes into 56 times. There's 2 left over, bring down the 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. There's 4 left over, we bring down another 0, and 8 goes into 40, excuse me, 5 times. So it's 625 thousandths. Once again, to change that to a percent, you move the decimal point over 2 times. So it is 62.5%. And I'm just going to erase this here so that it doesn't look like that was the answer. So there's our clear decimal. All right, so 5%. The fraction is 5 hundredths. 5%, remember, percent means out of 100. So then we just simplify this by dividing them both by 5, and we get 1/20th. And then 5 hundredths is 0.05. All right, write it like you say it for the fraction 1 and 8 tenths. 1 and 8 tenths. These are both divisible by 2. So you get 1 and 4/5, and I would take that as an answer, or I would also take the improper fraction 9/5. To change 1.8 to a percent, we just move the decimal point over twice, so that is 180%. All right, so 5 through 8 are just mental math. So remember, if you go onto Google Classroom, hold on, let me click on here to see. If you go onto Google Classroom under the year end, I took a picture of our note for the mental percent rules. You will need to know those for tomorrow's test. So 10% of a number, whoops-a-daisy, I need a pen here. You can email me and tell me that, whoops, I made the screen move, whoopsie. All right, so if we have 10% of a number is moving the decimal point over 1 time, so the answer is just 7. 1% of a number, the shortcut is to just move the decimal point to the left 2 times. So 1% is 1.5. You could also say 1.50. 5% of a number, the shortcut is to find 10% of the number, which would be 12, and then divide that by 2, because 5% is half of 10%, so that would be 6. And 13% of a number is a little bit more challenging. We need to do 10% of a number, and then we need to find 1% of that number and multiply it by 3. So 10% is just going to be 5. We move the decimal point over 1 time. And then 1% is going to be 0.5. And if we take 5 tenths times 3, that's 1.5. And then 5 plus this 1.5 equals 6.5. All right, so draw a diagram. These are helpful when you're missing the whole. So we're missing this value here, but we know the part. So 50% of 35. So I need to split this into something that can evenly go into both 50 and 100, which would be 50. So here's 0%, 50%, and 100%. And if 50% is 35, then each of these sections is worth 35, so this would be 70. 100% of a number, you don't really have to show any work for that. 100% of 60 is 60. It's just the whole thing. All right, then 23% of 80. So we'll find 10% times 2, and then we'll find 1%, times 3, we'll add those together. So 10% is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. 1% is 0.8, and 0.8 times 3 is 2.4. So when I add those both together, I get 18.4. And then what number is 10% of 30? 10% is easy. Just move the decimal point over one time, and it is 30. I think I said that wrong. 10% of 300 is 30. If I said that wrong, you can email me and say, Miss Lott said it backwards. All right, the last two word problems. I bought a shirt with an original price of $45, and I had 20 whopping percent off of it. So happy. So I'm going to find 10%, which would be 4.5. And to get 20%, I would double that, which would be 9. So I saved $9. So how much did I pay? Well, I'm going to take the cost of the shirt minus the $9 that I saved, and I am going to pay $36. I should put my dollar sign in there. That's responsible, right? All right, number 14, Lucas loves ducks. Unfortunately, 30 of his ducks flew away. That's a little irresponsible. I should take better care of them. This was 60% of his flock. So this one, we know the percent, 60% of his flock. That's what we don't know is 30. So whenever we're missing the whole, this is when those tape diagrams are our friend. So again, we're looking for something we can evenly divide into both 60 and 100. And 20, I think, is a lovely choice. 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, so I have 0%, 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100%. And this tells me that 60% is 30. So at 60, there's 30 there. So if I look here, do I have a highlighter? No, but I've got this finger I can use. All right. So here, oh dear, that's not what whoops, daisy kids. I just did it again. You can email me and tell me I screwed up again. This is what I want. Here we have 30. So this is split into 1, 2, 3 parts. So if we take 30 and split it into 3 parts, that means that each part has to be 10. So I have 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So therefore 100% of the flock was 50 ducks. You could also say, all right, each of these is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10, and 5 tens is also a 50. All right, good luck. Last quiz of the year. Rock it. Word. Peace out.